Another DraftScience video presentation. Some Robert Ritchie, basically the subject big gravity, and then we'll move on to Ken Wheeler stuff, and there's just no point. Everybody's crazy. Just sort of a fact. If I go out and survey the world, and not too many people are going to get the right answers on any kind of test. Really bad. It's just really disappointing. Living on a planet of kooks and loonies. So we'll play through some of this and then play the very end. He doesn't really stay on any subject in particular. He thinks he's going to argue with me about singularities and stuff I already overtly say I don't believe in. I don't believe you can put an electron inside of an electron. I mean, can't be any more explicit. I don't think there's any such thing as infinitely small anyway. You want to try infinitely big, I don't care, but infinitely small, you're not going to be able to do it. But anyway, I don't know. Crazy. That's all. Just, everybody's fucking crazy.
And I have to put you straight on some of your fanciful ideas. You keep saying what I'm trying to present is free energy. And
look, whatever. You're saying you have some better technology than the existing hydrogen bomb rocket. Okay, so you have something that can produce more opposing force to the force of gravity. Gravity is a real thing, whether you think it's bent space or you think it's little particles. It doesn't matter. It's a real thing, and it's really substantial force. Okay, and you have to overcome it with some kind of magnetic force or some other kind of force. And there just doesn't exist any other kind of force that's going to be able to create that much of a change or difference in the pressure on one side of the rocket versus the pressure on the other side of the rocket. I mean, that's, if all we had to do was shoot the rocket sideways, right, it would take like this much fuel. A little hydrogen tank, you go whoosh, you can shoot the train really fast. Okay, so gravity is substantial. That's what that whole big giant rocket is just to overcome gravity almost. Almost all of the energy is used for that purpose. Obviously, they have to get enough speed up to be able to stay in orbit, so they need some velocity to do that. But, I mean, what the fuck? You're saying you have found some sort of, holy grail of energy. You're making the claim, shithead. You're producing absolutely nothing that anybody could reasonably understand as being any clue to having some special knowledge of some special force that's able to... It's like you're saying, I have anti-volcano power. I know how to stop volcanoes from volcanoing. I mean, I drop a pill in and neutralize the volcano pressure. Shit.
Said there's no such thing as free energy.
Yeah, not by your own words, okay? You're claiming you have found something that would have to be like in the category of like almost free, in the sense you're saying I can get you to the asteroid belt, no problem. No big rockets, no big problem. I can get you there in a few days. I mean, even your whole argument is suspect in the sense you haven't even accounted for the fact that even if we had a mega propulsion unit, we still can't go to Mars in 2 days or 4 days or even 7 days, because the speed you would have to go is so fast that little tiny micro meteorites would blow holes in your spaceship. So until you found a way to put your little force field ahead of the ship and move all of the stuff out of the way so you don't crash into any tiny atoms that'll blow a hole in your ship, you can't go that fast anyway. You haven't even accounted for that. And here you are being so fucking pretentious and arrogant. I don't need your instructions, fuckface. I really don't. You're the one who has underthought about this crap, and now you've made a bold claim that you have super propulsion, and you're not going to be able to come up with the goods, and so you're the one who's going to have shit on your face. Ugh.
If you want to move a spaceship from this planet to another planet, a given amount of energy is required.
Right, and you're claiming to have some given away to produce it. You're producing all of this fantastic energy to overcome gravity. So you're not anti-gravity, you're not negating gravity, you're not doing any of that crap. You're somehow creating super powerful energy that's able to overcome gravity. Shit.
no way around it.
Okay, so see your own statements conflict with each other. They don't add up to the same thing. You can't say one thing one day and then say it the opposite way the next day. Can't do that.
So my machine has an energy requirement. So whether you have a diesel engine in the bowels of the ship,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're claiming you have some engine that you put in the bowels of the ship that makes all the difference. It's more efficient than hydrogen.
pumping away and putting out electrical energy to power my machine, or whether you've got a nuclear reactor, it doesn't matter. You still need the external energy input.
So what are you even talking about then? What good is your fucking machine? Okay, if your machine needs the same amount of energy, if I still have to feed it energy, how is your machine any better than the capsule on the spaceship, than the stupid, crude hunk of metal on the end of the capsule that, once you get rid of all the booster stuff, you let go of all that stuff and the little capsule goes around and around and around. How is it any more efficient than that capsule? How is your special configured spacecraft, or whatever the fuck it is, that needs just as much energy to overcome gravity, how is it so fucking special? What, does this have like Ken Wheeler, does it have a nice new $2,000 recliner in it?
There's no free energy. No free ride. Okay. My second point of contention is you're inferring that I was talking about singularities.
I wasn't inferring that at all, crazy fuck. You're the one who brought up all this celestial nonsense, okay? I simply made the argument that, gravity's gravity, and if you want to have anti-gravity, well, then you're going to have to pull Jupiter next to the Earth so you can have anti-gravity, because anti-gravity is going to cause, if you're going to fight gravity with gravity, you're going to have to make another big massive ball of mass to consume a bunch of energy so you can sit in the shade, so to speak, and be, to overcome the shade you're in. You have to make a darker shadow. Oh, Christ. Anyway, let's move ahead.
But I'm not going to bother because that doesn't concern me. There is a parametric limit to a black hole.
Yeah, like I could care listening to this shit. You're the one who talks about, you can get to almost infinity, which is just silly baby talk. Like, oh yeah, halfway to infinity is almost infinity, or maybe 90% of infinity is getting close to infinity. There's no such thing, idiot. You can't be close to infinity. There's no. It's just absolute nonsense. You're always an infinite amount away from infinity. No matter, you can go an infinite amount of distance, and you're still an infinite amount of distance away from infinity. The end. I mean, it's a silly concept, almost infinity. I mean, you're talking absolute bullshit. I'm done with it, okay? I'm done. You made a silly video saying you have the power to get to the asteroid belt, no problem. You can collect your blah, blah, blah. You made these claims, and these claims are just absolute nonsense, and that's all I was arguing is, gee, those are really bold claims. You got to come up with the goods. And then you got some fucking, I can only put up the goods on the day with a W in it, and all this bullshit. I mean, fuck this.
I'm like a rock, mate. It's just, I've been through enough to...
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and some of it has apparently diminished your capacity to be reasonable. All right, so I don't care that you're indestructible and you have all power and you're immune to anybody's critiques. Fine. The simple truth is you're making extraordinary claims and you're producing extraordinarily weak evidence that you've done anything that will be at all interesting to any human who has any practical sense. Hey.
So, I see what you're saying about your concept of gravity. Well, you don't have to move to have gravity. That's
something does. That's the whole point. But you can say it. I can say, well, go ahead, point me to the frozen, that is molecularly frozen planet that has gravity. The whole argument is, as long as the pieces inside the atoms are moving, something has to move them. Electrons and protons don't move for free. So in a sense, yeah, any object that has molecular movement, that is anything that has a core that's melted or any of that kind of stuff, is going to be creating gravity because it's absorbing energy, it's consuming it. But whatever, I wasn't here to argue my theory. I was just pointing out, okay, that by my theory, you don't have any hope of destroying gravity, of overcoming gravity with some magical force, unless that magical force is you're going to put a piece of dust on the end of a 500 kilowatt laser beam and shoot it into space. So if you want to shoot really small things really far, fine, but you're not getting any space capsules to Mars in 2 days.
It's a fallacy. So I've got a question for you, Gary.
Exciting.
If you're shining a light at midnight, you shine a torch at midnight for 10 seconds, perpendicular to the surface of the Earth, straight up, in other words, and you're on the equator. And then after 10 seconds, you turn the torch off. Now, can you describe what happens to that beam of light? Theoretically, how far it goes?
Yeah, theoretically it goes forever. I don't believe photons are ever pulled back by gravity. They're not affected by gravity because they're a force. Forces aren't affected by forces. A photon won't be pulled by a magnet. A photon isn't pulled by an electrical charge. It doesn't frickin' happen, okay? There's zero evidence of it. You say you have some evidence. You don't have any evidence that photons don't go billions of light years, because we have all this evidence from the universe that they travel billions of light years and somehow don't get pulled back by the gravity. Why didn't the gravity of the sun they came off of pull them back if being pulled back was a possibility? Why wouldn't they get here moving much slower than the speed of light because they're getting slowed down? I mean, this is such a pile of crap. Yeah, I think forces go in straight lines unless they hit something. Period. Piece of matter, an electron or a proton. If they don't hit one of those, they just keep going in a straight line at the speed of light. The end, period. And fuck you.
Or does it go forever, or does it stop, or does it go in a straight line, or you tell me what you think.
Oh, yeah, I've already done thousands of videos, really. I'm not here to personally instruct you on reality and what the evidence, every single piece of evidence ever collected, demonstrates. And, pointing out also that the idea that the Eddington experiment has any credibility at all is just nonsense. I mean, never repeated experiment, over 100 years, never repeated with better technology. 400 times better resolution from space, never repeated. I mean, clearly not a piece of relevant evidence. So if we take Eddington off the table, what's your fucking experiment that shows any of this horse shit? Oh, that's right, you don't have one.
That 10-second beam of light that you send out into the universe. That's a big clue about gravity.
Oh, fuck you in this little puzzly game you're playing. I don't need your fucking clues. What you have to do is put up or shut up. Okay? You've made extraordinary claims, you've produced zero, and you're talking like you have, well, I have the great insight, I'm the guru of the physics. No. Fuck you. You're a noisemaker. You're an irritant.
So that's it. Just a small, a small tidbit for you, and a response to clear up that there's no free energy and there's no singularity. And there's also
Whatever. I already knew the no singularity part. You claimed there was free energy in the sense you implied that there's some energy we're not taking advantage of, that there's this huge capacity to go right to Mars tomorrow. 2 days. 4 days, you said. 4 days. We can be on Mars in 4 days because of your great technology. All right? And then you were talking about going to asteroid belts and doing all this other stuff. Like, hey, it's all for free. It's not going to cost a dime, man. No energy problem at all. You just plug in my little machine and, hop on and boom, there you go. 2 days you're in Mars. This is your horse shit. Fuckhead. I mean, god damn, you're just so...
no infinity. So just Just remember those few short points.
Yeah, I don't need to remember them. I already don't believe in infinities in physics, and I already didn't believe in singularity. So what are you giving me this lecture for? Shit for a fucking brain. I didn't make any arguments defending any of that crap, you crazy fuck.
And we can be on the same track. Anyway, that's about it. So I'll leave it at there. Very short video today. I've got other things to do. Go and run some more tests. They're still giving me the same results, which is to be
Whatever. Yeah, he's got to test it with his nephew or whatever. Yeah, fine. Son-in-law, some kind of stupid thing. Yes, okay, and when he tells you you're crazy, then what are you going to do? Oh, never mind, sorry. My bad.
expected. And I'm planning out what I'm going to do is get a camera tripod and put a universal joint on the top so it can swivel up and down to show the gravitational effects, and it can spin around so that it doesn't fly off.
Oh, that all makes so much sense. So he's doing some spinning magnet bullshit. So we'll get to some people with their spinning magnet bullshit. I mean, this is like the whole Faraday thing, right? The Faraday paradox was this whole thing about spinning discs and all this fancy crap. And the whole thing just comes back down to the Professor Lewin thing of measuring voltages with probes that are in the experiment. The probes are wires in the experiment. And all you're doing is measuring how much induction you're creating in the brushes and the wires that are still close to the magnet. The magnet's creating energy in the probe wires. I mean, there is no energy being created in the spinning disc. There's no electricity being created in the spinning disc. The only place you're measuring the electricity from is the stupid wires you're measuring with, you frickin' retards. And this is all this shit is just so fucking stupid. Damn. Just hate people.
It's going to be like a tethered experiment. So with that, you can look forward to that in a couple of weeks. Don't care. No hurry for me.
I mean, why would he even do this? Oh, no hurry for me. Okay, I've made videos promising the world infinite energy, infinite potential, all this perpetual, this perpetual motion. But he's offering us this thing that's just so great that we can get to Mars in 4 days, and he's not going to come through with anything. It's certainly not the bug shield that's going to protect the spaceship from being annihilated by pieces of dust.
But, yeah, I'm very disappointed when people twist my words. And
Nobody twisted anything shit for brain. I mean, you want me to replay your fucking first video announcing this horse shit? You were inarticulate. You made claims and statements.
Totally hide the meaning of what I'm trying to convey. So.
Yeah. Well, you didn't try hard enough. You didn't do it well. Get Grammarly or whatever, because yes, you didn't articulate yourself very well. You're the one who started using words like anti-gravity and making 4-day trips to Mars. You're the one who made those claims, not somebody else. You did it.
All right, with that, I'll say goodbye, cheerio, tally-ho and all that, and see what your response is.
Fucky-yo. That's all. Fucky-you-yo. Shitty-yo. God damn-yo. How the fucky-yo did I get on this stupid fucking planet of fucking psychios? Shitty-yo. Alright. Well, I'll be back. I have to make my dinner. So, till the later and such. Alright, should be back. Okay, so here's this. So I was just talking about the Faraday paradox, and so this is another example of just it's sort of kind of just an obvious mistake. I mean, once you understand, I mean, you get this idea, you're measuring voltages, you say there's voltages there, blah, 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 and then you do the experiment without any of the other stuff there and just your probe wires, and you can figure out, how the hell does that work? So it's like the Professor Lewin experiment in a sense, because you could just say to Professor Lewin, well, take away your whole circuit, okay, and just keep the magnetic field. Now put your wires in, and what happens? I mean, you can just watch the effect. You can actually just move your probe wires in and watch the effect happening. It's your probe wires are creating the effect. So this guy's another example. So he calls it the Wheeler effect. So he's called it after Ken because Ken had this great idea. And so these are just giant brushes he's made, these metal brushes that are hitting this thing. So I mean, obviously he has a spinning magnet, and then he has two pieces of metal, put into the field. Yes, they're going to into them is going to be induced electricity, okay? Because you're moving a magnet. I mean, it's just that simple. This whole coil up here, all of this crap doesn't mean a damn thing. It isn't playing a role. So he has a brush here and a brush here, I guess, on the coil, but it just doesn't matter. He could cover the whole thing in tape, and he's still going to get the same effect. And that's the funny part of it, But yeah, there's nothing in this video, so I really shouldn't waste too much time on it. He's videoing the floor. I suppose he's trying to prove, look, see, the wires are really going to here. But you can't tell what the hell this is. So he doesn't even explain what this is. I mean, it's the coil of wire. You can see wire on it. And magnet, maybe. I don't know if there's a magnet somewhere in here. So he speeds this thing up. It's making microvolts. I mean, they're not even millivolts. They're microvolts or something. Tiny amount of energy. So it's not even... yeah, I guess I could turn the sound off. Yeah, okay. So it's not even creating anything like a big current or... And Ken's promising that you're going to run the universe on this, micro voltage. That somehow you're going to make a motor 600 times more, 40 times more efficient by this crap. So, does this look like it makes energy? I mean, he's putting in, let's just say 500 watts. It's probably running 500 watts to spin that thing. He's getting back 0.8, of a watt. I mean, that's how bad this is. 0.08 of a watt. So anyway, so this is the original video from Ken that inspired this nonsense, and this is funny. So we'll watch some of this because it's pretty funny. Oh, the squirrel commercials. Har, har, har. I hate this planet. Right.
That no one's seen before.
Oh, here we go.
And
no one's seen it before.
If anybody would like to duplicate this.
Okay, so he's got a coil with wires on it, covered in black tape, right? So he's got these two really strong magnets. By the way, to all the critics, like some guy just left some bogus bullshit comment, about Ken Wheeler. Like, I have a hard-on for Ken Wheeler. It's about as stupid as saying Democrats have a hard-on for, white supremacists. Or that Republicans have a hard-on for, immigrant lovers. No, clearly they hate them. Okay, it's exactly the opposite. I hate Ken Wheeler. He's the epitome of what's wrong with planet Earth. Arrogant dumbass. He is the description of the arrogant dumbass. He thinks he's brilliant, and he's a retard. Ugh.
Experiment, please feel free.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't done anything. Like, again, you could see it with the two-slit experiment. He doesn't even know there's a single slit, pattern. He doesn't even understand anything about the experiment, and yet he's talking like he's an expert. I mean, I'm an expert on field. He doesn't even know what field theory is. He doesn't even know, in this example, I think this might have something, I don't know if he shows it in this video. Well, one of his videos, he ascribes to Maxwell Faraday's theory, of a gear, Anyway,
these are two.
An idler gear. That's Faraday's theory. And Faraday, when he wrote it, said this is probably garbage. So Faraday presented it as a theory, but I mean, he presented it clearly by saying, I just made this crap up, and it might not have anything to do with reality. I'm just trying to figure out how it might work. And he had a bunch of gears. Everything was made out of gears. I mean, it's clearly crap, and he admitted it was crap. And so this is where it just, the real truth just doesn't matter to these people.
2 by 2 by 1 inch neodymium iron borons. The difference being, is that they actually have a center axis hole through them.
Very exciting. So he has a coil of wire smashed between two magnets. That's all it is. And he says this is going to revolutionize motors. It's going to give us 40% greater motor power. So it's right here. Axial Rodin coil for increased power generation. Rodin coil. It's just a coil of wires. So let's be understand.
Where I could actually turn them and induce a current, but thinking outside of the box, I actually...
So he can't do any of that. Yeah, so here it is. This is Faraday's drawing, okay? It's not Maxwell's, it's Faraday's.
I got the idea from an obscure book on field theory and reading into Maxwell's theory on the idle wheel. And anyway...
Now, I can show you that in Faraday's book, that it's in Faraday's book.
That's complicated. By actually...
So it's complicated, and it doesn't really have anything to do with what he's talking about, which is hilarious.
But you can actually see it here in the hump, and I'll show it to you underneath the magnetic viewing
Isn't that
film.
amazing?
See that bright line?
Yes, you see how the coils of wire do something? Yes, it's only one. The magnets are the thing creating the field, so of course there'll be a little line in the middle, and the rest of this dense material is going to change obviously the magnetic profile because it's a big giant pile of metal. Oh, it's just so stupid. But anyway,
to the planes of
let's just
and
jump.
by actually turning this and creating a phase disparity, I'm able to double up a current. So
he says he can double a current. So he has two wires on this. He's not going to show us this thing doing the damn thing. He says he can double a current. He says he can do this. He says he can do that. And he doesn't do any of it. Doesn't demonstrate any of it. Just tells us that's what it does. And somebody else should make one and prove it. Because somehow the one he made isn't good enough. I don't know. He doesn't even explain why he doesn't just do it. If it works, why don't you just show us it working?
the potential, the short of it is using this in a system of AC power generation around a coil for power generation. I would be able to use a coil between two powerful neodymiums like this and have higher output. Now, I don't know what the exact percentage would be, but I'm guessing that it has to be at least 50%.
Yeah, so you save 50% on your electric bill. Everybody can save 50% on their electric bill through Ken Wheeler's brilliant insight, for which he will show us not one clue of how it works, or show us it working, or give us a tiny demonstration of it even doing 0.01%, let alone 50%. He hasn't shown it doing 0.01%. He can't even show us a proof of concept here. Nothing. He's just showing us a duct-taped pile of magnet crap.
Of the induced current, from what I can calculate on spinning this using a simple drill and checking induced current off of the Rodin.
Oh, yeah, well, why don't you do that then? Yeah, why don't you do it? Oh, no, that won't happen. See, this doesn't look anything like the thing the other guy was spinning, right? I mean, he didn't have two magnets in a coil smashed in between them. So he's saying this is the video that inspired him, and he's not even spinning the same piece of crap.
Coil between these two neodymiums, such that, in other words, for example, you're not only harnessing the power of induction on a coil, from an AC generator from the magnets on the coil, but also a coil between the magnets.
All right, so you understood some of that? No. So there's nothing there. All right, so I'll come back. I have to go finish cooking dinner. So anyway, yeah, doesn't matter to you, right? Yeah, these are minor interruptions. You'll survive it. All right, appear to be back and such. So we'll do some more of this. So you can sort of understand he's got a coil in between two magnets. Now, no matter how you try to connect to that and spin it, you can sort of understand that the only way you can connect to it is to put some sort of connector that has to go through the spinning magnetic field to get to the wires. So no matter how you put brushes on it, or you have wires coming out of it, or spindles, or it doesn't matter how you do it, there has to be a conductor, okay, that has to be in the magnetic field, and you're spinning it. That creates the current. It's just not a mystery.
So these are operating as a single magnet, but the plane of inertia, since there's a huge coil between these two, well, not huge, but
A plane of inertia
between these two magnets, not only
anything.
inducing a current in the traditional conventional AC generator system, but I'm also inducing a secondary current in the Rodin coil between these two magnets. So I'm inducing a double current, and therefore, instead of getting, say, 100% output on a conventional AC generator, I'm getting 130, 140, 150%.
Just absolute nonsense. You won't generate anything in the coil because the coil is connected to the magnets. It can't generate anything because it can't move any of the atoms in the field. You have to move atoms to create electricity. Just a fact. You have to move them in the sense you have to compress them and decompress. You have to move the electrons.
They're really potent suckers. These used to be really, really expensive, the ones with the holes in the center. They have a lot of fun.
So let's understand. He says he needs 15 more of these for some other project. I'm offering him $2,000. I did it right to his face. Offered him $2,000 to play a 17-minute video. So just think how many magnets Ken could buy with $2,000. Right? He could buy literally 100 of these magnets, these precious, these powerful magnets. Buy 100 of them. Maybe, $20 each to be 100, right? That's it's quite a bargain I'm offering. 100 of them. And for 100 of these powerful magnets that have such, we can, power the universe with the new technology we can develop with these magnets. If only we had these magnets. So all these Ken Wheeler sycophant bullshitters, right to his face in email, he's declined my $2,000 offer for playing a 17-minute video. Now he could just open by just saying, I'm playing this video under protest. This guy's an asshole. He can say whatever the fuck he wants and just say, look, I'm playing it because I'm getting $2,000 for it, okay? And I'm going to buy all these super great magnets. I'm going to have 100 magnets in the video. In the next video, I'm going to have 100 magnets in it, 100 powerful neodymium magnets. And he won't do it because he's a coward. Okay, that's the only answer, shithead. So let's just go back to this douchebag's comment. This fucking Ryan Michael, or Michelle. Anyway, you have such a hard-on for Ken. No, I have an upset stomach over the fact that this world is covered with asshole lying sacks of shit like you. Okay, and your little fat tubby piles of shit lying goddamn heroes. Okay, your hero is a fucking coward. A fucking coward. And you have the arrogance to write this crap on my videos? You fucking weasel. I mean, what a pile of shit. I won't block you. Let's see if you have any kind of response. $2,000 to play a 17-minute video. Nothing else. He doesn't have to do another damn fucking thing. All right, 100 powerful magnets, and he's saying, "No, I'm not going to do it." And you say that makes sense, you little fucktards?
To here, and the same here to here, but they're trying to form along the Rodin coil that is smashed between them. Perfectly smashed, by the way, not like smashed.
So this is showing absolutely nothing. It's exactly what you would see if you stuck a disc of copper in between the two magnets. You see exactly the same thing. This is showing you absolutely nothing. Nothing. Totally uninteresting.
Through a jet engine, you're actually able to increase the output by simply changing the geometry. Why not take advantage of a rotating...
Yes, right. So you can change the propeller and increase how well the propeller moves air. No surprise there. Okay, yes, they figured out that, certain geometric shapes are better at capturing wind at different speeds. And so, a turbine is very high speed, made for a certain speed. If you just tweak the blades a little bit, you'll be able to maximize all the resident turbulence you create and therefore have less drag. Not a surprise. What does that have to do with this horse ship, Ken? Oh, absolutely nothing.
a rotating AC generator by tapping off part of that motion that is not being impeded for the production of energy, for the production of an additional set of energy to increase ultimate power output.
Right, so he just keeps saying it. We're going to increase something by putting a rod through this thing and spinning it when we're spinning a magnet or something, and somehow by spinning this extra pile of shit, you're going to gain something. You're not going to gain a goddamn thing. It's just a pile of crap.
So that's where I got the idea from, was from James Clerk Maxwell. He didn't mention it.
Oh, please. Yeah. And he didn't even get it from Maxwell, got it from Faraday. The ideal wheel. That's the page he had open.
Specifically, but it just became as an aha moment. This took me a long time to make, by the way. It was very hard.
Very hard to make, and it has wires coming off of it, and I didn't test it and do anything, even though there's a little circuit board over here, so he must have tested something, and yet he didn't show us any test results, anything. There's absolutely no evidence this does anything whatsoever. And here he is just claiming increased power generation. He showed us nothing, not a shred of evidence of any increase in any power generated.
It was very frustrating. I cussed a lot actually making this sucker. And getting it together carefully took 2 people. I had to get 2 people, meaning myself and my buddy, to get this together carefully and correctly. So anyway, thanks for watching, and like I said, invite anybody to build one of these. I need to get a dozen more of these. Exactly a dozen more of these.
Right, so I'm offering him 100 of them. It's actually more than 100, right? Theoretically, they only cost maybe $12, $10, something like that. So I'm offering you 150 of these. 150 of them. To play a 17-minute video.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Silly humans and their poop.
So anyway, as if that wasn't deplorable and disgusting enough that he gets away with doing that crap, posting a video about increased energy output and never showing a bit of proof, nothing. And he's done it before. He's got videos where he says, right in the title, increased power production, blah 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 blah, never seen before, and never is there any follow up. There's never anything to say, yeah, okay, I proved it. He just says, oh yeah, 2 weeks from now we're going to have this announcement, blah blah. No announcement. So this was really terrible.
Objects is not, gravity's not a force at all.
Gravity's not a force at all. It's a thingy of it's a by a section of the contrary counterspatial perturbated hyperboloid.
It's an acceleration, increasing inertia.
It's an acceleration by the non-force. Yes, of course. No force acts on it, and it just happens to accelerate because it just says, time to accelerate. I don't need a force. What do I need a force for? Accelerate? Force? There's nothing between. No connection between forces and acceleration. We have such great evidence of it. I mean, of course you don't need a force. I mean, we've all seen the space shuttle launch. Well, there's no forces involved. What, do you think they have rockets with big flames and all that kind of thing? No, of course not. That'd be silly. Yeah, it just floats up. I mean, of course, we've seen it. We've all seen it's clearly not a force that you have to counter with a force because it's obvious that this shuttle just pops into space. Come on, we all seen it pop into space. Poof. Just poof, goes into space. We've all seen those pictures, haven't we?
An acceleration towards counterspace of 2 mutual objects that are not accelerating towards each other. However, superficially that appears to be the case.
Oh, sorry, let's go back to the beginning of this video where he... it's just, there's nothing to say. I mean, it's just so bad. It's just, the world is just so doomed that this asshole can be on the internet, and it's like everybody with a brain doesn't just say, oh, shut up, Ken. You're so full of shit.
That I absolutely despise and detest, the tinfoil hat.
It's just so funny, right? Just, and he is just the epitome of the lying, shystery pieces of crap on the internet, just talking their conspiracies made out of nothing. They're completely unevidenced horse shit. The CIA has special shuttles that just poof into space.
Alien nonsense that is absolutely all over the internet.
Right, and only the ones he approves are real, though. Okay, so all that crap on the internet, the ones Ken approves of, those are real ones. So, and they're so obviously more real, right? Because it's an Air Force film or something. I mean, there was the release of this Air Force stuff just because the Air Force was being accused of hiding the truth or something. So they just released the silly videos. One of them's clearly a duck flying. I mean, it's so obvious over the surface of the ocean. You can see the ocean. You can see the wings flapping. It's a fucking duck. Okay? I mean, this is how bad it is. And the other two are airplanes. Of course, they're just seeing passenger airplanes. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. But no, he thinks those are the real deal.
I just detest it. 99.9% of it is trash and garbage.
But there is the real UFOs and the real spaceships. I don't know whether his theory is the government owns spaceships. The government owns the spaceship. So even though we had Donald, the idiot Trump, in office, who was supposed to be this complete outsider, who was supposed to be on the side of the people and would certainly release all this hidden information. Well, he didn't do it, did he? Because it doesn't exist.
I know it, and if you don't know it, then you should certainly know better. However, since people ask me this all the time, are alien UFOs or spacecraft real? Of course they are.
Of course they are. Of course. I mean, the evidence is everywhere. We have all those cigar pictures and all that. I mean, what the fuck is he talking about? And people are eating this crap up. 649 likes for a video saying, yes, there are UFOs. They have visited us. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. You just know, oh, come on. People can't be this retarded. It's worse than a God theory. It's worse than Mohammed or Jesus. It's more silly. The fucking UFO theory. Oh, shit. Endeavor to persevere, Gary. Yes, okay. I'll endeavor to persevere. Buck up, Gary.
The Navy ones that had the
the Navy ones.
electrostatic aura.
Yeah, around a duck. Around a duck.
About them that were
They're all infrared images, okay? they're so, understand these aren't daylight images. They're images in infrared. They're seeing the heat signature of the object. Just coincidentally, we only captured the UFOs in infrared. Oh, it's just a coincidence. It's in the really poor resolution thing where everything looks like it has an aura around it. And this is coming from a photography kook, right? A guy who owns 4 million cameras. And he doesn't know that the whole thing, reason why we don't use infrared cameras for anything is because their resolution sucks and there's an aura around everything. That they don't really have great detail. You don't get really great hard lines between, Duh. I mean, this is just such crap.
chased down by highly credible Navy.
Yeah, right. Navy pilots, with the camera is smarter than the pilot, right? The camera is all gyroscopes on it and everything else. It's tracking the plane. It's even the fact is the pilots don't really even fly the plane. Okay, realistically, they just set a course because they can't fly the plane. All right, they're too. They can't. Their reflexes aren't nearly fast enough. Nothing's really fast enough. They don't really fly the airplane. So the whole thing is it's a computer flying the airplane. And so the pilots don't even know where the fuck they are half the time. They don't know whether they're flying this way or that way or which way they don't even know which way, what kind of orientation they have to the planet. They don't really know half the time.
Pilots, and we have video for this. It's all over the internet.
Oh, I don't know. Is it? Why don't you leave a link to the video you said is credible? So he sees this is just more of his cowardice. He puts up nothing. So show us all the video you say is credible, and I'll find 50 people at least who have debunked it. So I'll find at least 50 people. So any video you link me to, I'll find at least 50 people who have debunked it.
Absolutely fascinating video. When they do an inversion on the color view of the craft that they're chasing, you can see the electrostatic aura.
so we can't find one of these electrostatic auras in the real world anywhere, except for a charged object. But obviously things moving, you could argue. I can show you an electrostatic aura on fish at night swimming in the ocean. And it's quite interesting because, in low resolution, you can see the water moving behind them. Where you don't see it when the frame rate is high and the resolution is high. So it's only when there's low resolution you actually see the water moving.
That is actually about the craft. And I can actually say that I am an expert in field.
Oh, fuck. You're an expert in being so full of shit. And the fact that people fall for this crap. Is this what Jesus was? I mean, Jesus was really some fat moron. And anybody can get people to follow them if they just pretend and promise them everything and give them nothing. I have a cure for leprosy, but I'll let you know about it in a few months. I'm working on it. But if you hang around and you go beg for food for me, I'll let you be first in line. Is that how Jesus did it? I need more magnets. Send me more money. Yeah, well, I know. I just spent $4,000 on a Barca lounger, or Easy Boy, or whatever the fuck it is. No, I'll spend it on magnets next time.
Field theory, whatever that means, it doesn't mean a whole lot. And I spend an enormous amount of time thinking about field theory.
What if I sleep hot?
Or cold? Introducing the new Sleep Number 360 smart bed. Now temperature balancing, so you can sleep better
Oh, it's a
together.
15-second turn.
Absolutely. It senses your movements and automatically adjusts to keep you both
Ew.
We have observed
What if Jesus had commercials in the middle of his show?
confirm that are true. In other words, like the Navy craft and some others. We have saucer-shaped craft, and we have other than saucer-shaped.
You're right. The saucers work because they're parabolatic. Yeah, and somehow that works, right? So somehow being this shape, a parabola, that makes you able to focus the gravitational super energy. But wait a minute, it's parabola pointing in both directions. So how does that work, Ken? It's a double parabola that would cancel itself, wouldn't it? Yeah, I guess it would cancel itself. It would have just as much parabola going one way as the parabola going the other way.
This is undeniable.
No, it's deniable, all right. But yeah, what's the point, right? Humans are just so despicably stupid. Oh, fuck. I think I'm going to have to buy Endeavor to Persevere in a bottle. I'm going to have to buy, some sort of drugs, then I'll just call it Endeavor to Persevere. Because I just don't know if I can take this cold and sober anymore. It's really rough.
I'm not interested in, little green men talk.
Well, what do you think is flying the ships? What big black men? What's your theory, Ken? Oh, fuck.
And, tinfoil hat garbage. Let's just talk about hardcore, analytical, retroductive.
Blah, 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 blah. Let's just talk about how we have tons of evidence for it. I have a theory that has to do with the, spinning magnets with wires sticking out, and, somebody else is going to tie it to a drill. I don't have time to tie it to a drill and prove it all. And I do have that other guy with a special motor thing that goes twice as fast as a regular motor. It's coming right along. Any day now. Any day now. Any day now. It really is so Trumpy. Oh, he's like a big fat Trump.
Thought about advanced field theory, and the only two modalities of so-called anti-gravity that are possible. And by analyzing this, at a very
up your ass viewpoint.
I wanted to say retroductive, but
it has something to do with your recto, all right?
Logical fashion, excuse me there.
Yes.
There are only two methodologies of anti-grav, and I have three little prototypes, by the way. They're little parabolic force amplifiers. They have
yes, and he has put Vaseline on them and has them all ready to be inserted into his ass. So yes, he has the prototypes. Will we ever see them doing anything besides I'm just sitting here being I'm some shit duct taped together. I'll just duct tape this battery to this chalk dispenser, and wrap it with. I need some wrapping wire, and wrap it with some wire, and stick a light bulb on it. Yeah, and then I'll just say to you people, I have done it. Eureka! I'll just put it on the table over there, and it'll be called Eureka. Yeah, we're done. I mean, I've proven it all, haven't I?
Have two quadrupolar magnets, and they have a flat
Quadrupolar magnets. The ones you were showing in the video weren't quadrupolar.
coil and a watch battery and a copper reflector.
Okay, so a watch battery, a copper reflector, I don't know exactly what that is, and quadrupolic batteries, and he's made a device that is just so cool because it magnifies nothing. Yeah, it doesn't do anything except making money, I guess, right? Because he's promising to the silly people. Yes, silly people, I promise you sooner or later you'll get something for your trouble.
Now these are little force amplifiers. They don't actually float off the ground or anything like that, but they're fun to lightly hold and gently drop towards the earth.
Oh, and prove nothing. So exactly. I mean, to not even be able to prove anything, like, oh, they're fun to lift, like, because they're really light. Will you prove that they're really light? That it really takes less energy to lift them? I mean, that's not even hard to prove. All you need is a lever and a spring and make you do the experiment and prove how it lifts up easier. Will he do it? No, because it doesn't happen. It's complete bullshit. It's a fucking lie.
You actually feel this spongy effect. I've had various people hold them. They find them fascinating.
Oh, silly girls, no doubt.
I've only made 3 of them. I have 1 in safekeeping, 2 that I actually have. But let's.
But I'm worried because the government's going to steal them like they stole Tesla's magic Super Ball. Yeah. This is so depressing. So depressing.
Let's just talk about the only 2 modalities whereby which anti-gravity is possible. Let's just be really analytical about it, because I don't know about you, and I don't watch UFO documentary stuff. I've watched like the Dr. Greer videos and some of the other.
I have to look that up. Dr. Greer. I have to go find Dr. Greer. So write it down. Well, I'm not going to write it down now. But
ones that are logical, analytical, rational. I just can't stand the tinfoil hat garbage. The science fiction trash. But I know anti-gravity is possible. So here's the only 2 types of, and I hate using the word even anti-gravity. The 2 types of anti-gravity that can exist. One is a parabolic force amplifier, and the other one is an inertial focus greater than the vector of acceleration. And these are actually very simple to explain. Let's go on to the first one, and that's based upon my little toy that uses 2 quadrupolar magnets. It doesn't float or anything like that.
It doesn't do anything. That's right. It does absolutely nothing. You can't even demonstrate something as simple as being lighter than it should be. You can't prove anything. You don't demonstrate anything. You just make these assertions that it does something, yet you won't prove it does a goddamn fucking thing. You're such a fucking lying sack of fat scum.
Hold it though. Kind of fascinating to hold and to play with. It's a parabolic force amplifier. Everything in the universe, everything, without any exception, because anti-gravity doesn't have to be something science fiction-y or
it doesn't have anything to do with science. That's right. Because all the scientists know that, anti-gravity, gravity is a force created by tons and tons of mass. So, you want to make gravity, you're going to need a big giant planet. Because without a big giant planet, there's not going to be the only way to make gravity. Magnets have lots and lots of force, but they're really small. They're very small little things. See, I can push, great deal of force right there. I can push it together and I can shoot a little magnet a little distance, but that's all it's going to go. It's not even as good as gunpowder. Oh, gee. People are so full of shit.
Well, Hattie, everything in the universe operates off of the right-hand rule. If you don't know what the right-hand rule is, look it up.
Everything? Everything? See, this is where it's just so stupid. Yes, it's a really interesting phenomenon, the whole idea of what electromagnetism means, because essentially it's built out of this fact that the stuff makes right turns. And that's really interesting. But everything doesn't do it.
Everything in the universe. And this means so-called anti-gravity must, definitionally, operate within the parameters of the right-hand rules.
Whatever that means. So the gravity is going this way and it goes that way. Well, how is that anti-gravity going that way? Oh, that's right, it's not.
So, there, just as a house has a front door and a back door, there are two methodologies to achieving anti-gravity, okay?
Yes, you said that already. There's two. And you haven't explained even the first one rationally. It's parabologic.
Neither one is actual propulsion. A propulsion would be like a chemical rocket, you know, exerting a force greater...
Well, I mean, it's still the same thing, isn't it, retard? I'm sorry, I mean, fuckhead, I mean, nutball. I mean, isn't the same thing? Whether you call it propulsion or you call it negation of pressure, how is it any difference? What's the difference? You already said it's all pressure mediation. That's another one of your axioms. It's all pressure mediation. Everything is pressure mediation. So we know that propulsion is pressure mediation. You're shoving a bunch of pressure in one direction and you move in that direction. So we already know that it's the same principle. So you have to explain how you mediate against the incredible pressure differential between the space going up there and the space coming from down there. And there's a huge potential difference between the two. If I put myself 1 foot above the surface of the earth, the fact is there's more pressure here than there is down here. And you have to explain how you can create that without using an earth. Okay, and do it without, like I said, magnets just don't have any range. You know, it's the cubed rule for magnetism. So the force diminishes, you know, even faster than gravity.
Than the acceleration of the vector of gravity, yeah? Very crude. So neither one of them are propulsion in the conventional sense. Everything at the highest level of invention, including...
So I guess it's not all pressure mediation then. So you lied to us, Ken, when you said it was all pressure mediation. You lied. Oh, no surprise there.
Magnets and lasers operate off of this neat word that starts with an F. Fields. So here's number one, a parabolic force amplifier that works in parallel to the vector of acceleration. The vector of acceleration would be any object. The vector of acceleration would be this roll of tape dropping towards the Earth. Right?
That's a vector of acceleration. So the fact that gravity goes right for the center of the Earth, always a line pointed to the center of the Earth. That's a vector of acceleration. Yeah, everybody already knows that, Ken.
Right. So relative to the vector of acceleration, what we're doing is we're amplifying the force, because two objects that are under mutual acceleration and accelerating towards the null point in counter space, not towards...
So again, two objects really don't do that in the case of the Earth, right? Because the amount you move the Earth is so minuscule that it couldn't be detected. You're not even pulling a goldfish off the surface of the Earth. You're moving so little of the Earth. So for all intensive purposes, the Earth can't be described as moving its center of gravity at all, because your end of the gravitational equation is so slight. The shadow you're casting, well, in your case, is so minimal. Yes, even compared to the Earth, isn't very fat compared to the Earth. Okay.
Towards one another. A force is applied. Field forces, a force is applied, whereby which the acceleration vector is both null.
Whatever. So a force is applied, vector null. So how do you null the pressure? The pressure exists. The pressure differential exists. How do you nullify it? You either add pressure with a rocket, okay, or somehow you have to negate an existing pressure. And if you're going to negate it, what are you going to negate it with except Saturn? What gravity nullifying device are you going to use except for one that has more mass than the Earth?
And with enough power, reversed. So, because two mutually accelerating objects is not, gravity is not a force at all.
Oh, shit. Did I speed this up? I mean, oh, no, I'm wasting a huge amount of my life here.
It's an acceleration, increasing inertia and acceleration towards counter space of two mutual objects that are not accelerating towards each other. However, superficially that appears to be the case, but they're not. They're accelerating towards a null pressure point in counter space.
They really aren't, and but obviously you can cheat. Okay, the reality, by pretending it works out that way. But the fact is that mathematically, you have to realize that the source is the center. There's probably ways of proving that you have to understand the radial source from the center of the object. If you understand it some other way, you're going to get wrong answers, especially when something has velocity. When two objects are stationary, you might be able to play this game that I can do the math and figure out that they're both moving to a midway point. But that midway point won't work once you start moving objects.
So, and this would of course explain dish-shaped spacecraft. Yes, the real ones, the ones that have been recorded by the Navy, where these seasoned Navy pilots are going,
Okay, the real ones. So again, he actually believes there's real ones.
my God, holy crap, this is fascinating. This is unbelievable. This is amazing. That would explain dish-shaped crafts, because the craft has to apply a parabolic force to the vector of acceleration. That's not big words or complicated. The vector of acceleration.
Oh, fuck you. Yes, it is. A parabolic... you can't even repeat it. It's such babble. Oh, let's just jump ahead. See if it gets to point 2. So the first way you do it is to create a parabola, and that somehow distorts the duct tape's vector of acceleration. How? Who the hell knows? Oh, more tape.
Here, depending on my vector of travel, and creating a gravity well of acceleration that is far greater than the vector of acceleration. So this is the vector of acceleration. What I'm doing is creating a gravity well inverse to, or directional proportional to, wherever it is or whatever direction it is that I want to travel. And this can only be achieved by, I'm calling it a dazer, but Nikola Tesla's...
A dazer.
Wonder.
This is our home.
Howdy, neighbors.
Nikola Tesla's death ray is a dielectric or scalar wave weaponry. But I'm referring to...
So even that dullard guy says there's no scalar waves.
A dielectric amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. We got lasers and masers. I don't know if you know what a maser is. What would be a dazer? It would be a point source that is directed or creates a false gravity well. Focused to, just like a parabolic mirror. Yeah?
So a false gravity well created by a maser, laser, dazer. Phaser, baser, naser, kaser, zazer. It is funny that word, laser, most words you can't put any letter in front of it. But it's like laser, it's like blazer, baser, kaser, dazer, phaser, they all, gazer, they all work. It's like any letter can work.
Say this is my spacecraft, let's just ignore the parabolic shape of the spacecraft. We're actually creating a point source inverse.
So he had this pre-drawn, the spacecraft parabolic, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, that explains everything. Yeah, I perfectly understand. You just make a parabola and you can, focus the stuff gravity thingy and negate its parabolicness.
To the vector of acceleration. So the inertial focus powers are greater than that. Equal to
whatever. Focus powers. Crazy fuck. So he thinks, just think realistically, all the experimentalists that have existed in the last 150 years, through the whole Industrial Revolution, and how many times they've been tried all kinds of shapes and sizes and done all kinds of things, and there's no parabola thing that works. His own hero Tesla spent, in real dollars, millions of dollars to fail to find any of this stuff.
Or greater, obviously, be equal to, then you're going to hover. It has to be greater than that of the vector of acceleration, so you're creating a gravity well in the locus of desired direction of travel.
So he's using Einstein rhetoric, gravity wells. Ugh, disgusting. Disgusting. Tesla never said anything about no gravity well.
Point in the video, and it moves the other direction. You can see, look at it yourself very closely, frame by frame. You can see the electrostatic aura shift. What that means is...
Oh. So why don't you link to the video, Ted, or whatever the fuck your name is? Why don't you link to it, you lying bag of shit?
Is that the geometry of the dielectricity of the desired vector of acceleration is changed, just like aiming a laser in a different direction. Except it's not aiming a laser, it is aiming a dielectric device of incredible power at a specific point to the desired vector of
What a kook. Alright, we're almost done.
Desired
Almost
vector of
done.
travel.
Almost done.
And those are the only two methodologies by which, understanding the right hand rule, understanding reproduction,
Okay, right hand rule, parabolic da-da-da, and the maser, phaser, blazer, laser.
understanding field theory. Those are the only two methodologies by which, whereby which anti-gravity would be possible. I can't stand all these superficial tinfoil hat science fiction garbage videos out there on UFOs.
It's just so funny. I mean, you can get away with, the snake oiler. I hate those guys who are stealing your money and ripping you off and all that. Oh, look who's in the audience. The sick guy who's going to come up here and fake being sick, and I'm going to cure him. I mean, disgusting.
Photos and little green men. Anti-gravity is real. Everything operates off of the right-hand rule. If we were to apply logic, expertise in field theory, and reproductive analysis, we can come up with the answers to anti-gravity. And those are the only two methodologies by which it could be
Blah,
achieved.
blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. No, the reason why you can't do it, Ken, is because your theory is a pile of shit. It's the same reason why Tesla failed, is because his theory was stupid and wrong and juvenile and nonsensical.
Can be achieved. I shouldn't say could be, but I was about to say already has been achieved by the military, but you and I
Oh, yeah, right. So, conspiracy theorist also.
both know that is already true, whether that be reverse engineered technology or...
So, why did they release the tape if it's of their special secret flying device? That doesn't make much sense. Why wouldn't they just fake a different thing? Why would they show you the real thing? It's just so fucking idiotic.
some nice deep thinking scientists who realized the same thing that I just got done telling you in this video decades ago. And then they built it. So whether it's backwards engineered or whether it's engineered through expertise of field theory, who really...
Oh no, there's still Tesla's blueprints years and years and years ago. 100 years ago. Whatever. 70 years ago. They finally got around to reading them.
cares? But as I said in the prior video, all future amazing technology will be point source technology. It must, by definition...
Oh, it doesn't even mean anything. It really just doesn't mean anything. I mean, you use point source to make things mathematically simple, but nothing is actually point source. I mean, actually, except for an electron and a proton.
Be point source technology. Everything that fascinates humanity are computers or laptops, cell phones, TVs, it's all powered by lasers and magnets.
Powered by lasers? I mean, what's... No, it isn't anymore, Ken. See, I mean, we don't even use lasers that much because people, we now store everything on solid state memory, so we don't even use the disk drive crap anymore. I mean, we don't even use, I guess there's people still playing Blu-ray, but other than that, it's kind of obsolete technology.
Whether you're looking to...
Anyway, alright, enough. Oh, I'm just so depressed. Fuck this planet. Fuck it. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, I just so wish there were aliens. It would be so great. Oh, they just kill us so fucking brutally. I mean, just throw us right in, take the whole planet and just bing right into the barbecue. Oh, because God, these scummy, lying sacks of shit and all their little sycophant followers. Oh, you couldn't, you know, the aliens just couldn't dispose of you and offend your dignity in any way, because you have none. You people have no integrity. You're indecent, disgusting animals. You can't swim a straight line, you can't crawl one, you can't squirm one. You're disgusting. Ugh. Okay. So yeah, I really, I can't do much as well. I hope you die soon. And badly, because you sure deserve it. I really can't. I can't end the video being an honest person and say anything other than that, can I? No. So that's what we're stuck with, I guess. All right. So, till the next time. Such. This says pause recording, but you really can't pause. So I really have to put the little pieces of the video together. Because it doesn't pause. It says it, but it doesn't do that. Because if you say start again, it doesn't start again. It just erases what you did and starts over. So anyway, it works well enough, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it is deceptive. Pause record. No, it isn't going to pause. Alright, anyway, till next time and such.